Hey guys, Short Stack Survival here. I have some absolutely critical information for you guys. I came across a terrible discovery about the tungsten guide rod. I can no longer recommend the tungsten guide rod. I believe it's an unsafe aftermarket item for specifically the Glock 42. So I'm not talking about any other Glock other than the Glock 42 in my experience. So if you guys have a tungsten guide rod for your Glock 42 from the Glock store and it's not having any issues, then maybe this is a one-off, but I no longer am going to be running it in my Glock 42, and I'll only be using the OEM recoil spring and guide rod. So I do plan on making a YouTube short to hopefully get that information out to people who may have already seen my video that's been out for a couple days, just for entertainment's sake and the fact that I put a lot of time and effort into the video. I'm going to go ahead and leave some of the footage that I had in the original video so you guys can kind of see what's going on yourself. I did try to fast forward the shooting segments of my video just for time's sake, but when you slow it down you can definitely see that the Glock is not functioning as it should. So what's happening is the recoil spring is reduced pounds, and I did showcase that later in the video. And what's happening is the recoil spring is not powerful enough to overcome the striker spring, and so you have almost like an out of battery situation. As of right now, I can't in good conscience recommend this product to you guys, and I hope you appreciate that, the candor there. It takes like 20 to 30 hours to get a video out to you guys, and so once I discovered this, it's really heartbreaking to have to pull your video back after it's already been gaining some traction and everything. But it was important for me to get this information out to you guys and make sure that you guys are safe, because that's the most important thing. I don't want to be recommending a product that could potentially lead to a disaster. So I'd like to show you exactly what's happening. This is safe, no ammunition in there. This is the original recoil springs. Safe direction, okay? If I go slow, it still resets. I'm just doing this a bunch so you guys can see that it always resets every time. Okay, so let's switch the recoil spring out. So that's the Glock OEM. You can notice that this is the rubber portion here, and then the thinner guide rod portion, the rear of the guide rod. And then here's the aftermarket one. So this is tungsten and this is much thicker, as I mentioned later in the video. Okay, so and I'm seating that exactly perfect, like perfectly down in there. And what I'm finding is it's migrating. Okay, so once again, pulling the trigger, see that? It's not, it's sticking. And you can actually see this at my footage at the range. It sticks every time if it doesn't quite have enough velocity on the slide. And so obviously it's definitely doing something that it shouldn't. And so I don't know. I just don't think that that's safe. It just doesn't seem like that would be a good thing. So yeah, I don't know guys, but I definitely do not recommend this tungsten guide rod. I think this condition that it's creating is absolutely unsafe, and I would not recommend it. This is going to come out of the pistol into this container and thrown in a part bin. Anyway, without further ado, let's head back to the original video. Hey guys, we're at the range. Looks like rain clouds are rolling in, so we're gonna get the best footage we can. Sorry about any wind noise you might be hearing. Hopefully you guys enjoy this range footage of us testing out the awesome upgrades we did to our Glock 42. I'm gonna be kind of doing a test and evaluation to see if this product right here is worth the money. It has a heavy duty tungsten guide rod, so 3 times the weight, reduced recoil and muzzle flip. You can definitely tell the difference between the tungsten and the OEM polymer. I would say that this machine part looks thicker than the original one. Just looks actually a little bit sturdier. This is the tungsten guide rod here, and I have the OEM guide rod inside. So just so you can see, I'm using a empty magazine. That way when I pull it back, it'll always catch at the same point. I've got my little chart here, tungsten versus OEM. I'm gonna be recording each one. We'll do 15 pulls. Each time I pull down on the scale, the black line will move and then it'll stay. So that way we'll be able to get an idea of how many pounds it took to pull the slide backs. So without further ado, I'm gonna put the hook through the trigger guard. Okay, so that one was 16 pounds. Oh, 15.5. I'll end up doing the calculation later, but the highest I had was 16 pounds. That was the first pull. And then the lowest I had was 14.5. But pretty much everything was 15 pounds very consistently. So we're going to go with that. 15 pounds is going to be the average there. All right, let's swap out for the tungsten guide rod. Yeah, I can tell the difference. So okay, empty mags going back in and we're zeroed, and all right, here we go. About 12 pounds. £12. I'll add up the numbers. There's a couple outliers here if we kind of knock those off, but we'll still get an average of these 15 pulls for each one, and then we'll go over the results. I did a quick tally here. So on this side is our tungsten guide rod. This is the polymer guide rod. So the stars on this side were 12 pounds. The stars on this side were 15 pounds. And everything else was kind of in between, but I did do an average here of all 15, and what we came up with was on the tungsten guide rod, it was 12.033 pounds on average per pull, and then on the OEM one, an average of all 15, we got 15.133, and so that's a difference of 3.10 pounds difference. So each time that you're pulling back the slide, it was 3 pounds more difficult with the OEM guide rod versus the tungsten guide rod. So that's a huge difference. Now, obviously, our instrument isn't maybe ideal, but you know, we use the exact same instrument with both guide rods with the exact same gun, and I was attempting to do it in the exact same orientation and everything. Obviously, I'm not perfect. This device isn't perfect, but I think in a game of averages, if we kept playing this game of pulling the slide back, we would probably find just about the same conclusion, is that it is much easier to rack the slide with the tungsten versus the OEM. And you can feel it when you're racking the slide. You can tell the difference between those 3 pounds. Hopefully you guys found that little test useful. I know a lot of people have been hesitant to upgrade to the tungsten guide rod because they're not sure if it would be reliable with, you know, duty ammunition, which would be, you know, a little bit more power, a little bit more powder. Let's head out to the range and try seeing if we can see a difference between the different types of ammunition and the difference between the original OEM guide rod and the heavy duty tungsten guide rod. Now that we have that new guide rod in there, we're gonna shoot first 3 mags of the MagTech. Okay. Awesome. Let's go ahead and shoot a couple more mags and see if we can't be more consistent. Slide held to the back. Very good. Last mag of the MagTech. Let's go down range and see how I did. So this was about 6.5 yards or so. Obviously I need to work on my trigger, you know, control a little bit, but that was 3 mags worth. So, you know, had some good shots in the middle there, and you know, shanked a couple low left. That's pretty common for right-handed people when you're, you know, maybe not doing so great. But hey, all in all, not too bad. Since hollow points are kind of expensive, I'm just going to shoot 6 rounds out of each mag of different variety of hollow points. This one here is Freedom Munitions Extreme Defensive Carry. It's 95 grain hollow point. Sometimes this wasn't so happy with the hollow point, so we'll see how she does. Okay, very nice. Those worked, and then now we've got the Golden Saber Remington hollow point, 102 grain, so a little bit heavier. Okay, held open, awesome. And the Fiocchi 90 grain jacketed hollow point. Okay, very nice. So everything's functioning. This is actually quite a treat because the last time I was at the range, I had nothing but issues with the Glock 42. Granted, it was probably user error. I'm gripping it a lot stronger this time. Hey, I'm just happy that it's functioning and it's working, and the guide rod seems to be doing a great job, so I'm super happy about that, guys. Just finished shooting all the defensive rounds. Gun is safe, range is safe, so we're gonna take a look down here. Don't judge me, guys. I'm not so great all the time, but so that was the original one I shot with the you know, the MagTech and the PMC. This was a Fiocchi. So obviously, you know, I tend to, looks like, go low left, which I definitely need to improve on at this range. I am used to shooting M&P, but that's no excuse. I definitely have room to improve. I can't remember what that one was. I think I did shot 2 there. Obviously kind of scattered, but you know, I mean, it would get the job done. I'm shooting low left and then again low left, so, but hey, you know, just wanted to show you guys the real world results. Alright guys, I just swapped out the tungsten guide rod for the original OEM. You can see the plastic guide rod in there, or you could just believe me. But I have a couple mags of blazer brass and then the MagTech ammo. So let's see how it does, see if I can feel a difference. So let me do the MagTech. I don't know. It's like, am I noticing a difference or am I not? I don't know. Okay. Hey, it's working, so I don't know, maybe it got jealous of the tungsten guide rod and says, hey, I'd like to work now. Oh, okay. It did not lock back. Let's make sure that it wasn't something obstructed in there. I was having that issue all the time where it wasn't holding open for the last round with the original guide rod. So I haven't had that issue with the tungsten one, but maybe we could see on the screen if I was allowing the muzzle to flip a little bit more with the original spring, or if it was okay, somebody's a space cowboy over there. Maybe the tungsten made it a little bit easier. Okay guys, I'm gonna switch out the guide rod here. This is the original, and we're gonna put the tungsten back in. I put the tungsten guide rod through its paces. I put every defensive load I have and all the cheaper range ammo I have through it, and it seems to be working excellently. So okay, so you can see the tungsten guide rods in there. So I've got, again, MagTech and PMC bronze, so we'll see how it does. You know, I do feel like it's less snappy. I have to say, I just shot the OEM guide rod. I feel like there is more weight out front. It's not as snappy, at least in my opinion. Okay, held back just fine. Seemed a little odd. Oh, okay. Interesting, it like didn't feed the next round or something. Okay, lock back like it should. Yeah, I definitely feel like the tungsten guide rod is much less snappy, but that's just my take. So hopefully you guys appreciated this range day and some of the accessories that I had on there. I love the Vickers tactical backslide cover that allows me to rack. As you can see, I wear a brace here, and it made it so much easier to get it racked. You know, Trijicon night sights, extended mag release, extended slide stop. I think those are great additions to the Glock 42. So if you have a Glock 42 that you've been having some issues with, maybe try some of these accessories before you trade it in or give it away, or just put it in the back of the safe and never shoot it. I definitely recommend the Vickers Tactical extended mags. They made gripping the gun so much easier. I hope you appreciated the time and effort I put in to test some of these accessories out and give you my humble opinion on whether or not they would be a good option for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this content, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future videos. Okay, here's all the different types of ammunition that we did today. We were mostly testing out the tungsten guide rod. I think we're gonna go down range. I should have changed out my target, honestly, but I didn't. So shot the middle out. That's pretty cool. Oh my god, that guy is like literally driving me